Let's grab this screens real quick. Lenses nice and clear. Oh, there's my water bottle. Excellent. What did I just do? I'm a ghost. I don't want to be a ghost. Wait, why am I a ghost? Why am I a ghost? Guys, this is not part of the plan. I don't know what's happening here. I'm trying to teach you guys about human design, but I'm a ghost right now. People on YouTube are like, what is this guy talking about? Yeah, I don't know why I'm a ghost. I'm not entirely sure how why I'm a ghost, but I guess maybe let's roll with it. I could just spend half an hour trying to figure out why I'm a ghost. Ah, okay. Here we go. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. I'm changing. Got it. What's up, guys? It's Monday, and we are going to be talking about human design. We are going to be drinking some tea. I'm drinking Pu'er today because I need the little boost. Had a big weekend. It was my daughter's second birthday party, and so she's 2 now, and it's just been the best journey as a father, because I've made it my own journey. A lot of people want to project how things are going to be for you guys as parents, and most of it is just nonsense. Most of it is like, personally, I was seeing it as they were giving me advice. Most of it is just like stuff they wish they could do, or stuff that they wish they would have done. In that instance, it's not terrible information, but a lot of dads, I feel like, try to give advice, but I don't want to be like a lot of dads. I don't want to be like a lot of and even a lot of my friends, they have children, but I still don't want to be like how they are as fathers. And so that's one thing that is really interesting, is recognizing, like, I don't have a whole lot of people to base how I want to, like, live my life on. So but it's great though. Cody, what's up, baby? Check this out. You seen this before? We're gonna burn some something. We're gonna burn something. Is what we're gonna do. And we're gonna drink some stuff. So, question about the bus. Totally. So one of the things I would say is, like, and this is for me. I was looking for a bus that, like, already ran and all the engine stuff was taken care of, because I knew I could do all the renovation on the inside myself. One tip I would add is, like, really take your time with stuff and do things right. Like, I installed floors on my bus by myself. Actually, no, one of my buddies helped me with that. But there was a moment when I was like, damn it, I don't have enough screws. And instead of waiting for the next day for the hardware store to open to go get new screws, I just did it. And now there's parts of my floor that will sometimes, like, squeak. And so it's more of an aesthetic thing. It's not too huge of a structural situation. But it is something that, if I could do it over again, I would just have waited an extra day and gone it. So, because you're building something, fight the nature or impulsiveness, whatever you have, fight it so that you can build the thing right. Mine is a 2004 turbo diesel schoolie. I think it's actually might not be a turbo. It's just I think it's just a diesel. But anyway, Sebastian, to your service. Cody, it's crazy to see you in here. I followed you not too long ago. We all just be following each other. I'm following Cody. Cody's following me. We're going somewhere good, guys. So thank you for all the follows, of course. What's your opinion on ayahuasca retreats? Dude, great question. If you're considering going to one, be really, like, do as much as you can to discover whether or not the plant medicine is calling you to come work with it, or the person hosting the retreat is, because there's a difference between the two. And if the plant calls you to go sit with it, go sit with it. But if you're like getting sold on ayahuasca, I would just be really mindful about it, because a lot of people that work with medicine, especially now, have only been working with medicine for a couple years or a few years. And not to say that the people that they're connected to aren't really wise and powerful, etc. It's just when you're looking at plant medicine is, unless you're drinking it every day like they do in the Amazon, it's a very different medicine. Like, you only go to plant medicine, in my opinion, if like you really, really like need help. Other than that, there's other things that you can work on aside from ayahuasca. Like, you can work on your biomechanics. In my opinion, biomechanics will do a lot more for you than ayahuasca will, because in the integration, all the things that you have to integrate after an ayahuasca journey, you could do that sober, right? It's like this. It's like psychedelics, even mushrooms along this way. It shows you like the end result in a lot of times. Like, it shows you like, oh, this is your level 400 character, and this is what it could feel like. But then you get sucked back into your reality, and then you have to like level up your character again. So anyway, what I'm saying is, with ayahuasca is not the answer, but if you don't know what the answer is, it might show you the answer. But one thing you want to be really mindful of is people that are just like hosting retreats, because it is a business. It very much so is a business, guys. And I have friends that take people to Peru. And if you want someone that I would recommend, there's really only one guy. His name is Fabian, Realization Nation on Instagram is his handle. And he's the only person that I would recommend, because he's been doing it for, I think, almost a decade now. It's been a long time that he's been doing it, and I've worked with him before, and I trust him in the medicine, and he's got very few ideas about how you say the benefits of him. He was in jail and came out of jail and started working with medicine, and then eventually started taking people to go work with medicine. And he's a beautiful soul. So he's like the only one. I haven't been to a retreat, but I have sat with the medicine before. I guess you can kind of call it a retreat. It wasn't how you say, it wasn't listed as a retreat. I actually ended up going because my friend was like, "Oh, we're gonna have like a private ceremony for my birthday," and I was like, "Great, that sounds like a perfect introduction to the medicine for me." And it was not private at all, and there were like 30 people there, most of which I didn't know, and I had a great experience. But the medicine told me, she was like, "Marco, like, you don't need the medicine to connect. Like, you're already connected, dude." And she didn't call me dude, but she said, "You don't need the medicine to connect. You're already connected." And where's my where are my things? There they are. She says, what you need to do is just like make it more of a daily practice to connect. And I was like, "Oh, I'm already doing that." She's like, "That's exactly what I'm saying." I said, "Oh, okay, great." And then pretty much after, I was just moving through like waves of bliss, and it was like I was on something, and just being all ecstatic because of how excited and good I. There's something, and this is interesting because it ties in with Reiki. In when Usui Sensei, who is the kind of like the primarch of our Reiki lineage, when he went out to discover, it wasn't like, "I'm gonna go figure out a way to heal people." He was like, "I want to know what the point of life is. I want to know why I'm alive." And I had a similar struggle when I was younger, because nothing seemed interesting and so many things seem fake, right? Like, if you look around and you look at the advertisements, and you look at the people on their phones and the stuff that they're looking at, how much of that is just like completely fake? How much of that is just total shammery? But anyway, let's see. Say, "Hey, Candace, hello. How did I get into Reiki?" Well, I got into Reiki because I was totally lost in life. Right? I was just looking for something that was like interesting and unique, and um, something that wasn't like just go to school and get a job, like something outside of the box. And I would say, admittedly, I was raised in a very sheltered environment. Like I didn't get a lot of exposure to stress and the stressors of life um, until college. And then once college hit, it all hit me at once. And so I was kind of just like writhing around in college looking for something, and eventually realized I needed to just like leave college. So I left college, and then my mom took me to get a Reiki healing. And I didn't know what it was, but it helped. Like I just laid down and the lady put her hands on my head, and I was like, what is this? This feels so much better than when I walked in here. Please, can I learn how to do this? And that's how the Reiki journey started. It was really humble and simple. But then I ended up going on offering Reiki. And for those of you that don't know what Reiki is, it's a Japanese healing modality that involves putting your hands on somebody. And Zach, I went all the way to teacher. So I'm a Reiki master teacher. I've been studying since 2012. So that's 14 years now. Yeah, 2000. Yeah. That's 14 years now. Damn, that's a long time. So I've definitely learned a lot. And I've also let go of so many things around like what healing looks like and how healing works. Because of Reiki, I got into sound healing. I got into somatic therapy. I got into hosting retreats, which is why I know people that host, again, like I said, I know people that host ayahuasca retreats and stuff like that. Great people, wonderful medicine. But a lot of the time what I see, especially with ayahuasca retreats, is people get addicted to the medicine and they don't necessarily like deepen into the community and realize that the community is available, but you don't necessarily need to keep going into these like deep heroic doses of medicine with someone. Like you can microdose this kinds of stuff. And same thing with community. A lot of people will go from like one community to another community, like a very toxic community to what appears to be a very healthy medicine community, but it's a community of humans, so it's going to have its own toxicity. Another thing about ayahuasca retreats is that they're held at a higher standard because they're saying, hey, escape the matrix, do all these things like transcend, be spiritual, but then they're human beings themselves. And so they're kind of like selling this God image of forgiveness and gnosis and etc., no judgment, but they have judgments. I'd much rather go to an ayahuasca shaman or a ceremony where, the facilitator is more of a human being than the picture perfect retreat facilitator. And everyone probably would agree with me. We're actually seeing a rise of in my opinion, I'm seeing a rise of people not necessarily looking to plant medicine to solve their problems as much as they're looking to their own actions and behaviors. And that's why I'm here, because I'm here to help you with the actions and behaviors that ayahuasca and medicine will eventually lead you to having to refine these behaviors. And by behaviors, what I'm talking about is when something comes into your field, how do you respond to it? Most people react. Okay, they don't actually respond. It's their subconscious programming. If something comes into their field that they've been pre-programmed to think is bad, they're going to be like, whoa, why, what's going on? If it's good, they're going to be like, yes, that's great. Even if the thing that they think is bad is inherently good for them, and even if the thing that they think is good for them is actually bad for them, they're not using their ability to respond. They're using a reaction. Luke, you said hey, what's up from Australia? You said the report blew your mind. Freaking awesome, man. I remember when I first got my human design like explained to me, and it did the same thing. And it's funny you say blow your mind, because it's literally like it will literally blow up your mind. Like you can think of your mind as this factory, right? That's just like solving problems. And what human design does for us is it lets us know which problems are actually ours to solve. Right? Because when you're looking at it, it's like, for instance, if you're a generator and something doesn't satisfy you, it's not your job to make that satisfying for everyone or tell everyone that it's not satisfying. Your job is to just be like, oh, not for me, right? If you have an undefined head and you constantly find yourself thinking about other people's problems, like most of them are not your problem to solve, nor can you solve them. So just enjoy the fact that you can think about them. It's the most accurate explanation of my problems, right? And don't get me wrong, perspectively, and problems are not necessarily bad, because if you have a solution, like you just said there, Luke, it's wonderful because now you can overcome the problem. But again, human design, when you're looking at your definition, it's like you want to focus more of your energy in areas where you have definition. The areas where they're undefined, and this is fun for reflectors, it's like as long as the things and the people around you are healthy, yeah, it kind of doesn't matter. As a reflector, how was your upbringing? Would you say you were the middle of your communities big time? I was also like a chameleon in school. Like I'd hang out with like the Mexican socials that played soccer, and then I'd hang out with the nerds, and then I'd hang out with the popular kids. That was big time chameleon energy. But one of the things that definitely became really clear to me as I got older, especially when I left the house, was how much of like glue I was for the family. And I was raised like, my parents never beat me. They never verbally abused me. My biggest trauma is that they sheltered me too much. So when I did wake up, it was very traumatic in that sense. But my parents didn't inflict any traumas that I can really say is comparable to anybody else. My parents were so wonderful and filled me with love. And I ended up having to be like the middleman or the peacemaker a lot as a reflector, which the reflector tends to be that because the reflector cannot really be at rest until the environment is healthy and thriving. If there's anything wrong in the environment, that's what you look to the reflector for and say, hey, what's wrong? How can we fix it? But if you don't go to the reflector and say, hey, what's wrong? How can we fix it? The reflector is just left there like, does anyone see this? Does anyone want this to get better? And it sucks. So yes, that's when you ask an undefined throat a question and they spend 5 minutes talking about everything related to that question. X5 satellite, Sag manifester that can't manifest. How can you help? Oh, interesting. I don't get what the X5 satellite. Oh, okay. Never mind. I know what you're talking about now. Sag manifester. Can't manifest. What do you mean you can't manifest? That's an interesting question. Because as a let's see, are you gonna hold any retreats in the future? Oh, exactly. Stellium. Okay. That's what I thought you meant. Luke's a generator. Great. So when it comes to manifestation, again, a lot of the New Age community talks about all kinds of Luke says he would change the words that he used. That's kind of what I would do too. By the way, if you guys are liking this live or enjoying it, I would say if you're getting any kind of value out of it, do me a favor, tap the screen. If you can give any gifts or subscribe. It really helps the channel a lot. And then also, if you can, and this is most important, if you're valuing it, just share it with people. Even if you just go into the share thing and click copy the link, TikTok will think you're going to share it with people outside the app. That's going to boost us to more people. So thank you guys. Luke, much love. Abby, thank you guys so much. This is awesome. Man, I'm so awkward when it comes to like asking for gift, but JNet, thank you for sharing the live. But it really does wonders. Thank you guys for responding to that. So when it comes to manifestation, like New Age practices have us believing that manifestation and law of attraction are like the same thing. And they're not really, because law of attraction is about, like frequencies and like attracting like. Manifestation is more about like education. And education is also another word that we've totally got backwards. Education nowadays, when I say education, most people think of a college or a professor teaching somebody something. The true word of, oh, freak yeah, that's hilarious. The true essence of the word education comes from the Latin root educo, which means to lead out from within. So when it comes to manifestation, stop thinking about it like law of attraction. Start thinking of it like the true sense of education. And again, education in the actual sense of the word doesn't mean to be taught something. It means to bring something out, to lead something out of yourself, and to bring something into the world that wasn't there before. Because here's the magic of how human design works. Human design shows you the perfect tuning, the theoretical perfect tuning of your vehicle, your instrument, of your body. If you can align yourself with that perfect tuning and see what happens to manifestation, see what things come out of you, and then see what that attracts, that's how like true manifestation works. And so each type has a different way of manifesting, in the sense that, how you say, generators and manifesting generators, your strategy is to wait for something to respond to. Wait for something to respond to that makes your gut go, uh-huh, like I have energy for that. Let's go. Let me contribute energy to that and let's do it. Right? Avoid things, or not avoid, but like go turn away and walk away from things where you're like, ew, just get up and go. Like don't wait for somebody to ask you if you want to leave. Just ask yourself, do I want to leave right now? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, great. Get out of there. Right. And that gut sound is different than the mind. There's only like, I would say like 2% of the population that is actually designed to use their mind to make decisions. All of the other ones use one of their organs, whether it's their solar plexus, which is the diaphragms, and your core, whether it's your spleen, which is literally your spleen, your G center, which is your lungs, right? Your heart, which is your heart, your sacral, which is your sex organs and your digestion. All of us are here, or again, 98% of the population is designed to make decisions with their organs, not their brain. Projectors are here to wait for invitations. Reflectors are here to spend 28 days. Now, manifestors have this unique ability, unique circuitry, where if they don't actually initiate the things that they're manifesting and find other people to help them and contribute energy, guidance, contribute sustained sacral energy, contribute reflections, nothing is going to happen for them. And so to someone out there asking, as a manifestor, how do I manifest? You initiate the manifestation and then you find people to help you manifest it. Because guys, we are beings of co-creation. You recognize no one does this alone. To have a child, you need a man and a woman to have a baby. Creation is collaborative. Manifestation is collaborative. Your strategy in human design is going to teach you how to collaborate with others so that you're not doing this like, oh, they said they would do this and now they're like run into all the problems. Because one of the reasons why most people run into problems when they're collaborating with each other, number one, they're not communicating. But more importantly, they don't know how to communicate with each other. They don't know how to speak a language that the other person recognizes. Everyone cares about different things. But if I can have your human design chart, I'm going to know what you care about. And I'm going to know where I'm going to judge you for not caring about it. It's just, it gets crazy. And it's literally like another language that you can learn to help you not only with your communication, but also with your acceptance of people. Sorry, I can't see other comments, so I myself get worried why I can't see. Thank you so much in your comment. Yeah, repelling sacral energy. So yeah, so biggest part, I'm a mental projector with single definition, but doesn't kind of contradict itself. Not sure. No, it doesn't necessarily. You know, again, like the 2% of people that I said that are designed to respond to life with their mind and navigate with their mind are mental projectors and reflectors. Now, the reason I say that is because the mental projector, your point of authority is the part of you that recognizes the external world, right? So it's like you're similar to a reflector in a way where it's like, I need to pulse the thing multiple times. I need to be able to talk to my friends and ask them how they see me in it. I need to journal and reflect a lot. I need to give myself a lot of time to make decisions. We make decisions more slowly because we're not as tuned into what's going on inside us as we are to what's going on outside of us. When things on the outside of us are cool, that's when we will actually get to start to work on our own stuff, which is really funny because I've now been in maybe 2.5 years of my ideal environment. I'm in a valley. It's very low sound, right? I have the ability to create and see and look at it from whatever angle I want. So my variables are aligned. I wait 28 days before I've known about human design for 10 years, but I've actually been living where human design says I should live for the past 2 years. Things are so peaceful around me, guys. It's weird. I'm unearthing things in myself because things around me are actually so good that I have not been able to touch because usually there's somebody else's shit in my field. And for the mental projectors or reflectors, you guys know what I'm talking about. When you actually get time to be alone, right? It's not that you're not there and it's hard to find yourself. It's that there's so much other noise going on around you that how are you going to hear an iPhone speaker at a concert? You know what I mean? And there's constantly people throwing their own concerts all the time. But it's so important for you to tap into yourself. You just need to be in the right environment. And now check this out. if you're any other type, if you're not a mental projector or a reflector, maybe a self-projected projector as well, but if you're not any of those three types, your how you say goal is not necessarily to find the right environments, but find the right collection of environments, find the right decision making ability for yourself so you can navigate between environments. Projectors, mental projectors, self-projected projectors, and reflectors, like, you want to find an environment that's moldable, that you can help to mold, that's good for you. Generators and all that stuff, like, you can find an environment that's already set for you that you can then make better. What is the best way a projector could go about making friends? I've always had the hardest time. So, as a projector wanting to make friends, I would recommend doing things that you enjoy doing. So, if you like pottery or you like art or you like dance, I would just go take a dance class. But like, be like the sexy, cool, mysterious person that's just like randomly shows up to a new dance class and everyone is like, who is that? But they're not like trying to go around and talking to people a lot. And it doesn't mean go and like don't be friendly, but don't go and attempt to initiate friendships. Build your skill set and create a network based around the stuff that you think is important, and the right people will see you doing that and then invite you into friendships. Or, hey, we're going after class to go get, some food. Did you want to get some food? That kind of stuff. I can't find much information about 1-3 reflectors anywhere. Right. Most of the reflectors are like not, I like to say they're away from their keyboards because they're dealing with other people's traumas, which is kind of a fucked up joke, but it's kind of the truth. So when you start looking for information about yourself as a reflector, it's hard because there's not a lot of information around. Which, if you guys are enjoying this, if you guys are getting value out of this, if you think this is good information, do me a favor, tap the screen if you can. Gifts and all that are super appreciated. Follow if you're not already following. But the biggest thing that helps me out, guys, is if you just go into the share box and just click copy link, because then TikTok will think you want to share the link outside of the live. Same thing for YouTube. If you can like and share it, all of that helps the channel. This is going to get this message out to more people. So being a mysterious Scorpio helps as being a I know so many projectors that are Scorpios. I'm not sure if that's just like how it worked out, but the Scorpio energy and the projector energy are very similar, which is really funny. It's lonely being a manifester because we're repelling. So, Deanna, check this out. And for any manifestors, this is a big message. And this is probably one of the, I would say, myths about manifestors, is that it's hard for them to maintain friendships. It's not hard. You're just not used to how your aura maintains closeness with people. Because if your aura is naturally pushing people away, right, what you want to do is tell people you want them closer. You have to inform others of what kind of relationship you want with them. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard for them to get any kind of relationship with you. So if you want people close, just tell them that you want them close and let them know what you want from them. That's the whole point of being a manifestor, is to help shape the environment by being the one who is saying to the environment, this is what we want it to look like. Like, as a reflector, if I don't have a manifestor, I have to do this very slowly. If I have a manifestor, things get done, or a manifesting generator, things get done so much quicker. But I'm not in a race to get things going. It's like I plant a plant and it's like, oh, that's going to take 6 months to grow before I can eat the fruit, or 9 months to grow before I can eat the root. That's just how life is. And again, if you want something in life, you have to be willing to suffer for it. This is what passionate means, right? So if you're passionate about good friends, or you're passionate about good relationships, you have to suffer through some not so good relationships, so you actually understand the value of a good relationship. Because people that have things in their life, they say, time breeds contempt, right? The longer you have something in your life, the more you're going to take it for granted. And that's just a physics equation. Same thing as sleeping in the same bed as your partner. If you're sleeping in the same bed as your partner every night, it's a physics equation. You guys are going to learn how to resent each other because you're intentionally and unconsciously stealing rest from each other. Any recommendations on let it go, forgive and forget? Yeah. So when it comes to like letting things go, what you're specifically talking about on a physics equation level is letting go of the water in your body that remembers the trauma or the thing that happened. This means crying tears, spitting, bleeding, sweating, coming, however water exits your body, you want to intentionally allow that water that's coming out of your body to be the water that is the thing that holds on the memory. Legit cried it out. Yeah, like dehydrate yourself, but also give yourself fresh new water. So when you're working on letting things go, number one, you don't necessarily want to view it from the perspective of like, I will be better when I let this go, right? It's not about self-improvement so much as it's about, hey, your system will naturally let these things go. It's about not holding on to them, right? And then the reason I say that is because so many people are like wanting to like heal, and I get it, but like your body does that for you. Your role in the formula is just to make sure that you don't shut the factory down out of fear that like people are going to think you're crazy most of the time. Manda, do you save these to YouTube? I hate that I can't hear everything while I'm at work. So yeah, they are on YouTube. I think you should be able to access them on YouTube. Can you not hear everything because you have to like toggle back and forth between like doing work and listening to me? If so, that's so sweet, and bless you wherever you are at your work. Yeah, it's the worst. My boyfriend tells me it's his favorite thing sleeping next to me, and I don't want to. Right. So eventually you won't even want the boyfriend if you let that go on. And you can already feel it brewing, right? And so one great way to do this, especially I would say as a woman, because generally speaking, it's like the man always wants more affection and validation from the woman, and a lot of the times that's why people want to sleep together, because it's very validating for them. It's like, oh, well, at least we got through the day, at least we're sleeping next to each other. But again, regardless of what state you're in, it's not good to sleep next to someone, especially every day. You know, it doesn't have to be like every day you're sleeping in the different bed. That's how I do it. And I just objectively, I think my relationship is a lot more healthy than a lot of other people that again, that's a judgment, but still, if you can get to the point where you're like 4 or 5 days a week where you get to sleep in your own bed, you'll be getting a lot better rest. You'll have a lot more energy. You'll feel a lot more clear because you just won't have the other person's energy. But anyway, for a woman in a relationship with a man, or I guess any dynamic where it's like your partner wants more affection, nighttime is a great time to give them that affection, and then like how you say, take it somewhere else, but like let it linger, right? And what I mean is like before bed, cuddle, hold each other, make love, like let them know you love them, and then go be in your own bed. When it's time to sleep, cuddle, hold each other, and then when it's time to sleep, go sleep on the couch. Like you have to be the one also to take initiative. It's like if you want this for yourself, don't expect the other person to just give it to you. It's hard for me to sleep next to someone. My ex-husband stole all the rest, hence ex. Yep, that makes a lot of sense. That happens for a lot of people. Again, and it's because it's these like status quo, like, oh, if I don't sleep next to my partner, that means something is wrong with the relationship. Like, says fucking who? The government? Like, a study online? Like, for some people, I would say it might work for them. But for me and a lot of people that I know that are human beings that enjoy their rest, they like sleeping alone. What about if you have no other option but to sleep in the same bed? Only on vacations I get my own. So, okay, so question then. Your house only has one room, because like I lived in a house. Psychology says it's best to cuddle to bond. Cuddle a bunch, but then sleep in your own bed. Um, but I used to live in a house where it was like a cottage style. Upstairs was the sleeping area, downstairs was the like living room and kitchen area. I put a bed downstairs so that I could sleep downstairs. My partner would sleep upstairs. You can get like a mattress or like a little like Japanese futon and lay it in the living room. I eventually got my own bus so that I could sleep in a totally separate structure than my partner. I live in an apartment with 2 rooms, but one is my music recording studio. Right. So get a futon or something, or a couch in your recording studio that you can sleep on. That's what I'm saying. It's there are ways for you to prioritize this in your life, and you really ought to. Like, sleep is so important, and so many people lose sleep because they love their partner, or so many people lose sleep because they have blinders on and they're like, oh, we only have one room, so we can't not sleep in the same bed. It's like, or we only like I'd have to sleep on the couch. It's like, then sleep on the couch. Yeah, so I'm in a bus, friends. Let's see if I can I turn this? Oh, there it goes. That's the doors of the bus. And then back here is the that's my bed with Appa on it. And yeah, so it's like, and like I said, I worked to the point where I could get myself a bus so that I could sleep in my own structure. Now there's literally a river that runs between me and my partner, and we're so good, guys. Like, I can't tell you how good things are. What about kids and babies who come to sleep with mama? So during that time in a mother's life, I think it's important for her to sleep with the children, because check this out. As adults, we as adults, there's things we can do for ourselves that kids cannot do for themselves, like regulating our nervous system. Kids don't know how to do that yet. For a mom to and it is a sacrifice in the sense that she's going to sacrifice some of her rest so that the child will learn how to regulate their nervous system and learn how to like trust, like, I'm going to be okay, right? So kids sleeping with moms, awesome. I think that's the way it goes. I personally, and no judgment towards any women or mothers or fathers who have their kids in cribs, but if you think about it, it actually takes a lot more energy for the mom to like get up out of bed, go to the crib, go to the kid's room. And like, when your kid is like 2, 3 years old, I don't think that's the time to like be training them to sleep on their own. When they're getting a little bit older, like 7, 8, 9, yeah, now we're talking about this. And it's like, for me, my plan, because we have a tiny little house, when my daughter gets to the point where she wants to sleep on her own, I'm gonna buy her the bus, or she's gonna get this bus and I'm gonna get a new bus. And yeah, my baby slept with me since day one. Good. I think that's how it was intended to be. Because again, there's so much information, not only that, but nourishment that children get from their mother. So it's important. Yes, it's not natural to put your babies in another room, snuggle them up. Yep. Bus concept, right? And because it's like and we rent here, so it's not like we own this property. So if anything did happen with our housing situation, we'd have one structure that is well lived in, that can literally drive off the lot. Thankfully though, and one of my goals is to actually buy this property that we live on, so that way I can do cooler things with this property than what's being done with it. Because right now it's just one of those like properties on Maui that's just being utilized as a long-term rental thing. And there's a lot more potential here. But exactly, kids need that closeness until they grow up and wish for their privacy, right? It's like, there's up to a certain point, our job as parents is to just make sure that the kid doesn't like kill themselves. Like, we're not here really to teach them things. We're going to teach them things invariably. Like, it's not our choice whether or not they're just going to watch us and learn. But the real key is to just like give them as many opportunities as you can to be themselves, and not to like make mommy and daddy proud. Like your level of pride in your children, like you could be there's parents who are very proud of their children, but their children hate being alive, and that sucks. So human design, again, is one of these ways that you can it's not going to make you a better parent, but it's definitely going to make you more aware. It's going to make you more aware of some things that you probably were not aware of before studying human design. And as a parent, I would imagine you want the best for your children. So learn human design so that way you can give them more opportunities to, again, be themselves. We got to open this window up again. It's getting toasty in here. That's what happens when you just burn incense and channel. Yeah, parents are always going to project their insecurities on their kids. And again, there's a lot of this underhanded stuff that, again, unconsciously we do. But again, stress and trauma is not a bad thing. I'll say that again. Stress and trauma are not bad things. We look at inspiration, which is a type of pressure. Inspiration is the pressure to think, oh, I saw a concert and I'm super inspired. I want to make music. I want to write more music, blah, blah, blah. But stress is also pressure. It's just the pressure to do something as opposed to the pressure to think about something. And so that shows us that our society is very lopsided and putting too much value in the head arguably like makes sense because that's where we come from, but not enough value in your actual individual experience. So Tara, I would love to do a family reading with you someday. I would love to do a family reading with you one day as well. I love doing family readings. They're so much fun. I mean, I love all the types of readings that I do, but definitely family readings are so cool because one of the things that I've always wanted as an adult was I wish my parents had somebody around that could help them see how different I was. And that's exactly what human design does is it shows you how different, and not only like how different you are, but like exactly what makes you different. And it's not about like resonating with your chart either, because a lot of people when they learn about human design, they're conditioned to be a certain way. They think they are somebody that they're actually not. And that's why a lot of people don't like human design, is because they look at their design and they're like, wait to respond, wait for an invitation. If I do that, nothing is going to happen. And then guess what? They don't ever experiment. They don't ever get to see for themselves how powerful and how much can happen if they actually follow their strategy, and they just keep doing what they're doing. And they live frustrated and bitter and angry lives. That's that's it. I've watched people for years sleep on human design. They're in the exact same position that they were. And not, again, no shame on them. Everyone has free will. But somebody that can't come to the table and look at logic and results that people are getting, it's beyond me. Anyway, that's what I'm struggling with, figuring out how to live my design. Well, Tara, what are you? What are you? Because I tell you, it's like struggling with human design is how you say, you're supposed to struggle with it. It's like 6-2 projector. Okay, definitely. And it's not that some types are harder than others, but there are some types that are definitely less suited for capitalist Western society. Let's just say that. Projectors are definitely probably ones that have the hardest time adjusting, because in a lot of ways the projector is built to like be a team player. But in order to be a team player, you have to actually have some kind of individualized, unique skill set that you can bring to the table, or some system master that you can bring to the table. Otherwise, you're not going to be recognized. So, did someone say projector? Onion, what's up, girl? By the way, I totally got your email. I've just been like having parties for my baby and my partner, so I haven't been doing much worky work this weekend. Big worky work on the family stuff. But yeah, so as super undefined manifester right here. Okay, great. Undefined manifest. Yeah, so for all the beings with non-sacral energy, again, one of the things that you want to be able to recognize is when someone is passionate about something, or when someone is willing to suffer for something. Again, that word passion. Because that is one of your superpowers. And if you don't recognize when people are passionate, or what people have energy for, or what they're disgusted by, or what they're frustrated by, or what they're satisfied by, you will invariably end up the one either trying to pull them out of their frustration, or trying to get them to be fulfilled, or get them to be satisfied with something. You have to learn how to recognize. This is for projectors, manifestors, and reflectors, projectors, and manifestors, all the non-sacral types. Learn how to recognize sacral energy in other beings. This is one of the most valuable things that you can learn, because otherwise your undefined sacral is just going to be like, oh, I'm just going to pick that up and I'm going to do that. That's my problem now. WTF. Wait, what? WTF. Turtles. Marco, thank you for all the spleen emotional info. Got you. Most people are taught to compliance and obey, like the majority are taught that, and it's through our school system, guys. The school system, the liberal arts school system, they teach you a bunch of shit, but they don't actually teach you about anything. They teach you how to memorize. They teach you how to respect authority. Who's at the front of the room? Who's grading the courses? Who's going to help you get into college, right? So school is not here to educate us. School is to dictate or dictate what is to be educated. School and the school system that we have is here to teach us how to respect authority. And I'm not here saying fuck authority. I'm saying there's a difference between the external authority, what mom, dad, big brother, big sister, my partner, my friends, the government, my state want, and what I myself as an individual want. There's a difference. School is to produce workers and soldiers, exactly. Which again, We need workers and soldiers. There are plenty of people who will be very satisfied, very successful, very peaceful in those positions, doing those things. You don't have to brainwash them. But also, they don't know that they're brainwashing us, right? Like, we're coming from a world where we used to have a caste system that was so static. Like, if you were born a farmer, there's no way you're going to die a prince. There's no way your children are going to be royalty. Now people can go viral overnight, go from no one listening to them to thousands of people listening to them overnight with the right circumstances. The caste system is broken. We're no longer locked at the level that we are born into. We can move. I mean, we can go up and we can go down, right? So anyway, what's a boss without workers? Exactly. But check this out. There are people that don't want to be a boss. Like, there's people that don't want to people. And I think that's great. I think there's, as a garbage man, as a garbage woman, soldier, as someone in the military, I think there's people that could be very, very happy in these quote unquote like worker bee jobs. I don't think we need as many of them. And I think the perceived value of those jobs and needing a lot of people to go into those fields of work is shrinking because we have automation now. You can get good things from school, but you won't get wisdom, right? Because it's just information, and you need experience, which school very rarely provides you experiences. You know, you get maybe a couple months of internship or blah blah blah. You get maybe a 1 or 2 cool projects a year, but the rest of the time it's learn this, pass this test, blah blah blah. Boring, super boring. Which is like, what's the point of learning something if it's boring? And I don't mean that in an entitled way. I mean that in a genuine, how are you going to learn something if you're not interested in it? Like, if you put like what am I not interested in? Right? Like, if you put a political science book in front of me and a human design book in front of me, guess which one I'm going to learn easier? The one that I'm interested in. Are there people that are very interested in political science? Yeah. Do they need a book, or should they actually go intern at a political office? Probably the experience, because again, you can take experience and turn it into wisdom. Whereas with knowledge, it's just information. And the same thing goes with human design. If you're just learning human design, you know, there's a possibility that you're just spinning your gears the same way somebody in college is spinning their gears, memorizing things for some test that's not going to mean anything. Or you could actually start to practice and implement some of the fundamental things, like sleeping in your own bed, like using your strategy, like learning about your authority and looking and reflecting on yourself and learning authority. What if we had schools by types? Well, I think eventually we can get there. There are plenty of charter schools that are project-based. Like, I went to a project-based learning high school, and we could 100% have schools that are based off of that. And for anybody that has any information or any desire, this is me informing, which is typically something that a manifester will do. But I will find more manifestors to help me with this. But as a reflector, one of the things I say about reflectors is like, we're everything, baby. Like, based off of the transits, and like, I can actually go look at, I haven't looked at the transit this morning, but let's look at my transit and let's see if I have a manifesting channel. I very well might. I'm literally interested in everything, but school was so boring, it's not creative enough. Exactly. I do have a manifesting channel. I have the 3635. Transitoriness, new things. Yeah, that's okay. So I'm initiating. If anyone knows how to do school stuff and set schools up, like, I'm open to advising on that, right? I'm not going to do it alone. I can't. I won't. More so, I can't, and I won't. But if you're into that and you have like, understand too, is like, you're just going to bring an idea to me and I'm going to smash it with a hammer until I can't smash it. And then that's the idea we run with. And that's what works. It's time for the tea, which is already hot. So yeah, so again, anyone that wants to open up a school, I'm looking for legit. I'm looking legit, and I want to work on so many projects as a reflector. But that's the thing, is I can't work on any projects unless I get to be the reflector in the project, if that makes sense. So I learned more stuff after I finished school. They don't know how to make it interesting, right? And yeah, more creativity is definitely needed. Like learning is not about, you know, numbers and math. Like it's not trigonometry and blah. It's observe information, absorb it, gather information, rule out impossibilities. That's called logic. That's step 2. 3 is express your findings. That's scientific method in a nutshell. But that's the process of learning. And you can do that internally. Internally, watch what's going on, rule out the impossibilities, and then express what's going on. Same thing. It works for internal authority and external authority. Creativity and open-mindedness. I think being open-minded is crucial. True. And being too open-minded is just as detrimental as being too closed-minded, right? Oh, thank you for the heart. Onion. Let's see. I had such a hard time in public school my entire childhood. Poor little me, but I will never make my children get that trauma. Yes, homeschool your kids. What tea do you drink? So this is a pu'er. You guys want to, you can kind of see the tea in there. Let's, yeah, it's steamy. There it is. It's Chinese black tea, straight from China. I like that Chinese. This stuff gets me so lit, guys. And it's just like caffeine and minerals and all stuff. So what if I have the 36 but not the, or the 35 but not the 36? So if you have the 35, that's called a hanging gate. And for anyone that has this, if you have a gate that's like going up towards another gate, but the other gate is not active, that's called a hanging gate or a dormant gate. If it's dormant, that means it's in an undefined center. If it's defined, that's a hanging gate. But this is like, you're going to move through crisis, but you're not always going to like have a clear path on what progress you've made, right? So Summer, one thing that you might experience is moving through a crisis and looking for the lesson. Like, why did I go through that? Don't, because you're not hardwired to know the lesson while you're moving through the crisis or even after you move through the crisis. It is about something else. So like, what is, then I would ask Summer, what is the channel that defines your solar plexus? This comes to being aware and critical, not take everything personal. You can take everything personal. It just sucks. Right. Let's get another cold going, guys. Yeah, you can totally take things personal. It just sucks. I have 35 as well. It also means that, you know, you will particularly benefit from being around people who are having of the gate 35 or sorry 36 and are embodied in it. They might be able to help you if you share your emotions with them or you share your experience with them. They might be able to help you discover why you went through some of the things. Oh, I'm totally doing this backwards. So you have 35 but not the 36. My bad, Summer. It's the opposite. It's, I know the progress that I've made, but I don't necessarily know what crisis caused it, or I don't necessarily have the energy to explore that progress further, right? And it's because again, it's like you got one side of the bridge, but the other one is missing. But, and this is for everyone with gate 35, we currently have gate 36 in transit right now. I just looked at it. It's the gate 36 is activated by, what's this? Neptune, and we have 8 days left of this. So if you, yeah, and so we're talking about human design. The 9 and O guy has 36. Oh, onion. Of course, that makes sense. So then that makes for a very like electromagnetic connection, right? And that makes for, if you have one gate and the other person has the other gate. And for those of you that don't understand what I'm talking about right now, go generate your body graph on my website and you'll understand what I'm talking about. There's white parts of the body graph, parts that are not filled in. Those are called undefined areas. These are areas where it's like you're going to be more receptive of the external experience of, you know, those parts, as opposed to defined centers, which are the colored in areas. That's where you're going to find more of yourself more often. You'll be more reliable in those areas in terms of like, okay, well, how do I feel today? If you're emotionally defined, your feelings are going to let you know. Let's see. A dab? Wait, who's talking about dabs? Dang it, now I'm talking about dabs. Okay, back to the chat. Yeah, so again, Summer, if you want to share what channel you do have emotional definition based off of, that would be really cool to explore, because I don't have emotional definition. Do you believe that the collective is going through an awakening together at this point in the timeline? I do, but I don't think we're going through it together. I think one thing that's really interesting about what's happening right now is that everyone seems to be having their own individual awakening, whereas, 200-300 years ago, and for the past like 2000 years, or I would say, is like people were going through collective revolutions, and now it's happening on an individual level, which again has to do with this like class system breaking down. And this that I'm talking about is loosely based around the human design concept of the incarnation crosses, or the global incarnation crosses. Like, we're moving from an incarnation cross that not only America was born in, but it's kind of falling apart in. But it's called the cross of planning. It's all about community and infrastructure and all of that. Prana, what's up, bro? I learned so much from this guy, Prana. He doesn't post anything on on social media, but the dude is an absolute legend. He's the one who introduced me as well to Neutrino Design, which is the app that if you guys have not seen my page, it's full of this app. Neutrino Design, which is like my favorite human design app, just because of how many insanely good features there are. But also, it's not some like random company from China that's trying to capitalize on human design. It's like a really cool dude making this. So anyway, do you think artists have a major role to play in the next few decades? 100%. I would say more than ever. It's such a wonderful time to be an artist, because not only do you have technology supporting you, but you also have this celestial shift. So like I was saying, 2027 is the year that things are going to shift from being heavily based off infrastructure and government and people taking care of each other, and shifting more into everyone takes care of themselves, everyone has their own experience. Again, from collective revolution to individual revolution. That's what we're moving towards. And art is literally, in a way, kind of like the proof of work that, hey, I've been having my own collective experience, and here it is. Like, so much of our art comes from individual circuitry and melancholy specifically, which is that feeling of like, oh, this is great. Oh, this sucks. Oh, but it's really good because this is happening. But then that's happening. It's like, going up and down. It's, yes, the rave. So, and this is called, I think it's called rave cosmology, in the sense of looking at the human design system for information outside of personal awakening and personal deconditioning. Yeah, so if you're an artist, now is the time. Start putting your work out there. That's it. Do you have filters on the chat? All of my comments are not all of my comments are showing up. Interesting. Kuka, I don't know. It might be that. Thank you for being here in this conversation. You're welcome, Moonchild. Please make your art. Please share it. So I have 3 that connect from my solar plexus: 34, 20, 14, 2, and 29, 46. So that's your sacral. Maybe the 34, 20, since it connects to my throat, always connects to my heart. 10. So Summer, we're looking at what's the solar plexus, so directly to the right of the sacral. I didn't say to be mean or offensive or stuff. No, I didn't take it that way. I don't know, because I don't have any anything. I don't have any filters on, but it definitely, TikTok will just do what TikTok does. So yeah, I don't know why it does that, but I love you hippies, man. I love hippies too, but except when they're not able to, like, face facts and face reality, then hippies are like super annoying for me. But I definitely have some hippie in me. And I'd rather be a hippie than just a cog in the wheel, you know. I think that's why a lot of people, where that term really is like, a lot of people resonate with it, because it's like against the system, man. It's like, yeah, because the system's kind of whack. Well, because the system again is like, this past age that we've been in has been all about like infrastructure and community and governments, and now we're moving towards the individualized person. And the shift of power, you're always going to find chaos in the shift of power. You know, it's like going from having an empire to all these small tribes. What is 4730? That's the channel of community. That's the cross of planning. 4730 is the cross of planning of community that we're moving out of, and we're moving into. I think it's the 3420, which is the cross of the sleeping phoenix, which is all about, again, individual charisma, self-empowerment, etc. Which you're seeing a lot of people do this already. You know what I mean? You're seeing a lot of people do this already. Personal brands are starting to overtake advertising agencies. Like, we can just look at that. Personal brands are starting to take over advertising, or encroach on the advertising agency's monopoly. So yeah, 3041 is the only thing that connects. Thank you for sharing all this, by the way. Totally, Summer. Yeah, we can get so much deeper in a one-on-one session if you're wanting to go deeper. But so the 3041, that's like pressure to fulfill a fantasy and the ability to revel and be present in the fantasy. It's also the fear that the fantasy like might not ever happen, you know. And so that area, in terms of your fantasies, spend more time looking at your fantasies and spending time, like how you say, tuning into the pressure of fulfilling those, as opposed to looking for the crisis, right? Like, your life is not necessarily going to, you're gonna see other people's crises before you see your own fantasies. Don't let that just happen. Like, pay attention to what your individual desires are over the crisis of others, and the lessons that you've learned because other people have put you through crisis, is what I can say. Sleeping Phoenix be like, I'm too busy doing my thing to participate in the system. Exactly. And we're not here to destroy the old system. It's already fallen apart. We don't need to dismantle the patriarchy. It's already falling apart. Okay. We need to build the new system that's going to make the old system further obsolete. Do you think a higher percentage of personal brands and artists will be sustainable in the future? I really can't say. I think so. I think what's happening is people are, and it's happening so quickly, right? Like, people are realizing that the system is not the only option, nor is it the best option. So they're still coming up with their own solutions. Now, because we're so close in this shift, like, we'll be alive during this shift, we're not going to see like the full fruition of it. And so we shouldn't be trying to like be in the fruit stage when we're very obviously still in the flower and pollinating stage. I think a lot of people and personal brands are going to attempt to legitimize themselves and make themselves more like the infrastructure that we see today, but that unfortunately is going to work against them, because that's the direction we're headed away from. So for personal brands, what I would say, number one, is don't sell out, but don't sacrifice the feel of your brand and the trust for levels of automation that are going to make things less personable and less real for the end user experience. Like, that would be my advice right there. And that very much so is also advice to myself, because I'm in that process of like, oh, I want to help more people, but I don't want to lose any of this personal touch that I've got. How do I do that? And it's a great question, and I don't necessarily have answers for you. System is there and will always be there. Just have to be aware of how you mingle with it. It's exactly like plugging into the Matrix, right? Like, when you go into the Matrix in the movie, first thing you do is you go into that loading room and you equip yourself for going into the Matrix. Don't just get on your phone and use any type of technology before you go into that waiting room and put on the right armor for what it is you're about to do. I don't just come on here and just do things without having an intention. I don't go into battle without my shield and my helmet and my sword. So technology, especially, you don't want to do that. You have so much to live, make the cup overflow. Exactly. Exactly. And that's where the beauty of artists and creation and art is coming from, is like when you allow yourself to have this unique experience of life, so much magic comes out of it. And you're able to give people, like, for instance, your art for someone in, like, I don't know, some, like, country like Sweden or something, that lives in the mountains, that just got access to the internet. They've never seen art like that before. Oh my God, they see art and it's inspiring them, and they want to like make art like that as well. Like, when you shine your own light, it gives other people permission to shine their own light. And that's one of the greatest gifts that you can give, not only to yourself but to the world, is you shining your own light, because there will never be another person like you. It's physically impossible. There'll never be another person like you. So if you don't share what you are here to share, the world will never see your uniqueness. And that's a bummer for everybody and for you. If you are enjoying this live, guys, thank you, Tara, for the headband or the wrist. Is that a wristband? Yeah. Thank you for the wristband. Gifts are always appreciated. Likes. Make sure you guys are following me if you're not already following me. And also, if you guys can just go to click the share button and just click the share the link. If you want to share it with people, great. I appreciate that as well. But if you click the share link button, TikTok's going to think that you're wanting to share it outside of the platform and bring people to the platform. So that just by clicking the share and the copying the link, that helps so much. I've been nurturing my craft for over a decade, and sharing it is a big level up for me. Yes, Moonchild Tribe, do it. And here's the thing about creativity as well, right? If no one hates your shit or talks shit about your creation, like, there's not really a whole lot that's unique about it. If everyone likes your creation, it's what I'm saying is, like, use the fuel, use the hate as fuel, use the naysaying as fuel for yourself, because it's gonna be there. And one of the metrics that I actually look at for my videos, if they're successful, my most successful videos also have the most "this is fake, this is brain rot, you guys are being duped, spiritual snake oil salesman," all this stuff. My best performing videos have have the most hate on it. So anyway, I'm also a 3.5. Can you recommend any books that are helped you learn about human design? Love your page. Oh, thank you very much. Yes. So the thing that I would recommend if you want to learn about human design and just the human design system in general is either this book, which there's a link on my page to this book on Amazon. You can get it. You can take a screenshot, by the way, if anyone wants to get this book, take a screenshot. This is my favorite book in terms of like, what's the Human Design 101 book? That's it, right? That's it. I would also recommend, because it's hard to carry a book around with you everywhere, if you want the full experience of human design and what technology has to offer, download Neutrino Design. It's the best app out there, guys. I've done all of the other apps. I've paid for the other apps and seen what they have to offer. And it's like going from kindergarten to a college level, like a graduate program experience with Neutrino Design. It's really such worlds apart. So you can get that app on my website as well. And because of Prana, who may or may not be in here, introducing me to the dev, we're able to bring it to you guys at 25% off. So you guys can get a 25% off discount, still the same app. But because of the relationships, and my whole thing is like, I'm like Robin Hood. Like, I want to take all the things that are like up here in terms of like spiritual pricing, I want to bring them down, because I don't think that money is a proper representation of value anymore. I think there's people who have a lot of money and are doing nothing for society, and they're actually extracting value in a very, like, how you say, harmful and detrimental way. And I don't think money is a good representation of who has provided the most value for the world anymore. And so that's part of my reasoning around wanting to be like a spiritual Robin Hood. So anyway, thanks so much. I actually did just download Neutrino Design after you mentioned it. Maya, let me know how it goes. And if you have any improvements or you run into any bugs, use the feature in there. Send it to us. Like, we have a big community of people that are using this app that are in the same boat. It's like, we just want good information that's not going to like cost an arm and a leg, because this information is for the people. It's not for the ruling class to like oversee over the people. It's just for the people to free themselves and ultimately become the ruling class, be able to rule over their own lives. As a reflector on the cross of rulership, I know something about this. Like, everyone wants to make somebody else successful, but they don't know what they want to be successful about. They don't know what fulfills them. Until you figure that out, you're just going to be spinning your gears. So let's say, what is my favorite channel? Oh, interesting question. Adrian, you always have really great questions. Every time you say the word system, I hear the Strong Bad song. Oh my God. Terminating the countryside, burninating all the people. That one. You should go vertical on YouTube. Then you can be thrown into the pit of exposure. I can do vertical on YouTube? Can I? I'll have to figure that out. The pit of exposure. Good job. I'm not too savvy with YouTube, but I'll definitely look at that, because that would be cool. Thanks for the tip, Adrian. But okay, so back. What's my favorite channel? I think my favorite channel lately has been. Can I get back to you in 28 days? No, I'm kidding. I think lately my favorite channel has been. It's funny because they change for me. Like, I don't have any channels inherently on my own, right? But I have a lot of hookups via the transit and via people. So yeah, maybe I'm not kidding. I'll get back to you in 28 days. No, I think what actually my favorite channel right now is probably this one that's in transit, because it's been like really putting me through a lot of emotional waves. So it's called the Channel of Transitoriness, or like a jack of all trades. And it's like moving things in the direction of new experiences. It's not about logic. And a lot of my stuff has not been about logic lately. It's feeling compressed, or feeling the expectation of the world on me, wanting to move forward in a way where I'm not conforming to the new world, or like what the world wants me to do, while not totally neglecting what the world is asking of me. Like, these lives have been super informative because I've been able to meet people who are able to like build off of the information that I'm sharing. And so yeah, I think the 35-36 channel is pretty sweet right now. And the 35 is part of my chart. The 36 is in transit via Neptune. So it's like, and one of the cool thing about the transits as a faculty, even if human design didn't like, none of it was relevant, the fact that humanity has the opportunity with the Rave Mandala and with the transits to look at the same things at the same time is super helpful. So let's see, what is the most obvious channel you can see in people live? Probably the 3420. Like, when I see someone with a 3420, they're either just like super outgoing and like just like the main attraction, or they're like this like super reserved person, and I see them with this like latent energy that's just like waiting for an opportunity to like be the center stage and just like blast it. I see that one a lot. I also definitely can feel the with the 659. That's the channel of like mating and bonding. I can feel that one quite a bit. The 214 I can feel a lot. Actually, okay, I scratch all that. The 31-7, the alpha channel, I can feel the alpha channel, because with the alpha channel, it's like it's one of the most stubborn channels that I've come across. But it's so very unconsciously stubborn, even if it's like consciously defined. Because like, I have a friend who has this channel, and like a friend from high school, and anytime I talk to him about human design, I can hear him start to go deaf, because it's not an area that he has a lot of expertise in, and it's also not necessarily something that is like, human design is not how you say, I mean, I guess in a way it is a purely logical system, but the experiment, or the faith that you have to have, the good faith that you have to enter into the human design experiment, um yeah, it's not that he lacks it, but he knows he's not in control of it. And so one thing about the alpha channel is, like, if they don't feel like they're in control of something, or and they don't have control of something else in their life, it can feel like, and this is with channels, if the channel doesn't have an expression in your life, like a regular expression in your life, these are defined channels, it's going to seek to, like, overpower some area of your life so that it has a form of expression. Like, for instance, if you have the channel of struggle 3828 and you don't engage in struggle on a regular basis, it will make life a struggle for you, right? So, like, have a container for that channel. Like, for instance, the 3420, the charisma. Like, if you don't have a place where your charisma comes online, it will look for the worst opportunities to come online. You know, it just, again, it's a physics equation. If it's not expressed, if the pressure isn't let out of the container, it'll blow up the container. So anyway, a darkness retreat, what are we talking about here? He said that our crown is probably, so I was talking to a friend about human design and explaining that the reflector authority is the moon, and he says that our crown is probably our body guide. Interesting. So these numbers that we're talking about, 3420, that those are gates that make up a channel. And here, let me make this a little easier for you guys. I'm going to put something up on the screen here. All right, where are you, human design stuff? There we go. That's not the best picture, but like, this is the 3420. So these are the gates that I'm talking about, all of these numbers. And if you don't, again, if you don't know what yours are, if you don't know what your body graph looks like, go to my website, generate your body graph. It's free. I just need your birth information and all that. Don't worry about the email. I'm not going to send you a bunch of bullshit and market and try and sell you on stuff. It's just so if you want to buy a report, I know where to send it to. But go generate body graph, because depending on, like, if you have this gate versus that gate, like this person is probably going to feel a lot more natural, or feel easier, like they're going to have a lot more interest in stimulating stories rather than logical stories. Like, this person probably likes fiction. This person will probably enjoy nonfiction. Now, that's not like a rule of thumb. It's not like, oh, 56 you have to like fiction and 62 you have to like nonfiction. This person is more inclined to see value and recognize value in stimulation over detail. This is the difference between 56 and 62. Also, a kind of how you say, emulation or a hologram of this side of the body graph, which is very feeling and intuitive and abstract, and this side of the body graph, which is much more logical, right? So what you can do with information like this is say, oh, okay, maybe this person has a lot of assigned value in stimulation, more so over detail. But what this person might choose to do with that feeling, for instance, maybe they appreciate stimulation so much that they invest more time and energy into getting detail, because they appreciate stimulation, so they want to experience the opposite. You know, it's and this is why, like, when you look at your body graph, you're not looking at, like, oh, this is who you are. You're looking at the potential. It's like, this is like the perfect tuning of your instrument, and if you can tune your instrument this way and see how good it sounds, you will always tune yourself to this way. That's kind of what it says. So I learned all this with Chat GTP. So, or Chat GTP, is it GTP or GPT? Be very careful with Chat GPT. It's not at the level yet where it can give basic information really well, but if you start asking it about complex things or give me advice, blah blah blah, like, you're much better off getting Neutrino Design and generating keynote. Like, there's a feature in Neutrino Design where it's like, if you just want like an affirmation for the day, you click on generate keynotes, you go to the notes section, generate keynote, it'll generate a note section for you, and it'll take a lot of your elements of your body graph and give you like an affirmation. Not to say that Chat GPT is always wrong, but you definitely want to cross-reference anything that you're getting from Chat GTP with some source, like either neutrino design or somebody that knows human design really well. Because I mean, I've heard ChatGTP say dumb stuff, like confusing the sacral and the solar plexus, confusing certain channels with other channels. So yeah, just definitely make sure you're cross-referencing. So Dr. Amanda, the Scent Wizard. Oh, that's a cool name. I saw a wizard. I was like, whoa. Yes, it's rain. I live in Maui, so it's very rainy here. And yeah, really beautiful right now. The river is running very strong today, which is such a wonderful sign because it has not been running. The different colors. So, and when you generate your body graph, you'll see. And actually, here, let me get a better image over here for y'all. Something that you guys will actually see when you generate your body graphs. Where are they? Let's see. Maybe that one will work. Yeah. So this is this Cody? This might be Cody the Sound Healer. If you guys, sorry Cody for putting you on blast, but no, I know you don't mind, especially if people are going to be learning. I'm sure he'd be stoked that I'm using his chart. And if not, I can just ask for permission. Anyway, so the red over here is going to represent the placements on your design side, which is like your unconscious self, your body. Essentially, 88 days before the birth, around the time that the woman goes into the third trimester, your body is like done cooking and it starts to attract your personality. All the stuff in black you see on the body graph comes from your personality. This is your time of birth. Now, the numbers that you see all up in here are going to determine what turns on or what is defined in your body graph. And then that's how you get to see again, okay, what is the ideal tuning for my body and mind harmony? This is the ideal tuning, right? And I have reports on my website for those of you that want to get this information. I have a $20 report that's kind of like the budget report. And then there's a $35 report that will give you a full analysis, which the budget report will give you the same analysis. But the Reiki report will give you like this is how to use the body graph, and these are techniques on how to integrate it, as opposed to the budget report, which will just give you the analysis of the information, which I might be changing that up soon. So we'll see. But currently, I would definitely recommend generate your body graph on my website and get that report. Sorry, I'm just listening for the river. The river has flooded before, so anyway, good prices. Thanks. Yeah, I really wanted my work to be like accessible to people. And some people charge more for their reports, and that's cool, but I have a different intention with sharing this information. So what is your interpretation on gate 12? Celia, hello. Thoughts on witchcraft? Ooh, interesting. So gate 12 is the caution. I have 22. So I find myself sometimes thinking, like, is it appropriate to say this? And sometimes it's not. And sometimes I don't say it. But a lot of the times that thought for me, I don't really care. Like I know when it's important for me to be socially cautious, but in terms of like my reputation and embarrassing myself, I'm usually just like say the thing. So anyway. Oh man, I wish I got the $35. Can we get an amendment? Carrie, email me. I'll help you. ReikiMasterMarco.com. It's also on my website. If you just scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see ReikiMasterMarco@gmail.com. Yeah. So what about stagnation and the 12? Right. So it's like 12 could feel like stagnation. Same thing with like, because it's, for instance, this right here, this 1222 is part of individual circuitry, meaning that you're gonna have times with the 12 and with the 22 where you feel stagnated, but that is actually just melancholy. That's just you being differentiated from others and like feeling aloneness. And Julia, if you want to talk a little bit more about, and are you talking about the hanging 12? Because the hanging 12, like, without the openness, without the 22, the hanging 12 is probably going to lean more towards social caution, right? It's going to lean more towards social caution. Now that might feel like stagnation again, especially, and I think Julia, we've in your handle here, it says 1858, which makes me think you have this channel, But is that the only channel? Is that the only channel you have? I think we've connected here before, so I think that is it. Um, but yeah, stagnation again with these hanging gates, you're going to feel a lot of energy from them. Specifically, you're going to feel a lot of like the negative side effects of these. Just like don't trip on it. It's like, when it comes to knowing when to talk or when not to talk, look at your strategy. Has someone invited you to talk? No, then don't talk. Like once you do that for 7 years, and I know it sounds kind of crazy, but once you follow your strategy for 7 years, you really get to see how, like, not to say they're like exchangeable, these undefined gates. Like, oh, I have this one, then I have this one. What does that mean? Well, something about this channel is going to feel like half baked, and that's not a problem. You're just use it to find people that can help you take something half baked and fully bake it. My daughter has the 12 and she gets stuck a lot. Okay, so one of the things that you can do is create safe environments for her to openly express it. Be the 22 for her, right? That's what we can do for each other. Is we can be something for each other. So 22 and 12 work together in this way. It's about openness. 22 is afraid, like no one's listening to me or there's nothing worth listening to. 12 is like knowing when to speak and knowing when to not speak, or when to be socially cautious, right? And when not to be socially cautious, right? And so it has to do a lot with okay, I'm different from you, you're different from me. Are we even going to speak the same language? And so as a parent, one thing that you can do is ask, and listen about, in terms of that stagnation or in terms of social situations, like be curious about that, right? And do your best not to impose any of your judgments on them, right? And give them advice, but just see if you see how well you can hold this energy of gate 22 and create this opportunity for her to express how it feels to be stagnated, or how it feels to be different than everybody else. That's where a lot of art comes from, is these individual channels like we talked about. Back to the witchcraft question. I think witchcraft is gets a lot of since its inception, gets a lot of flack for no reason. Like, I see the witchcraft is really just the thing that they would call people who understood how the land and how nature worked. And so a lot of like witchcraft, like, it's funny because the whole thing with like a witch and their broom is like witches would just clean their places with brooms, and they were more cleanly and healthy and looked better because they would take herbs and they knew how the land would help them. And the other people who were just like sleeping in their own shit and didn't know how to take care of themselves were getting sick. These people would seem like immortal witches, like they're doing some kind of witchcraft and magic. And that was something that the church wanted to have a monopoly on. So I'm going to go pee real quick. I'll be back. And we back. Energy exchange with nature. Yeah, I would be called a witch. Yeah, a lot of people who like actually just care about themselves and want to take care of the land would be considered witches, right? And here's the thing: back in that day, it's like you were really only a witch as if your mom was a witch. Nowadays, you can be born to a Muggle family and still get a Hogwarts letter. Different age we're in. Tap while I'm gone. You guys are the best. Love you. If you guys are enjoying the live, you're getting some kind of value out of it, tap the live. Best thing you can do aside from following and sharing gifts and stuff is to click share the link live, or share the live through copying the link. Because then TikTok will think that you want to share it with people outside the platform and bring people to the platform. Man, I sound like a broken record, but you guys more people share the live when I do that. So thank you guys for doing that. Again, I kind of consider myself a spiritual Robin Hood. So I'm just trying to like get as much information out to the people as humanly possible, while still feeding my family and paying rent and doing all this stuff. I guarantee if I had millions of dollars, there'd be a lot more free shit for you guys. So however we figured out how to make me a freaking billionaire, like I'm not going to be buying super yachts. I'm not going to be doing any of that kind of stuff. I'm going to be developing land so that people can come experience what it's like to live in communities that are resource based and not, based off business. So I have not been to any. I have not been to any conferences. I did get invited to speak at Human Design High Desert, which is in my head. One of the main human design conferences. It's put on by a guy named Jonah Dempsey, who's like incredible. And he invited me to speak there. It wasn't the right time, but I might do it next year. I love events. I really think events are where people's lives are changed, because again, it's like, and what's cool about TikTok and technology now is that this is an event, right? Like you guys might hear something today that completely changes your life. And I hope that it does, because when it comes to human design, sometimes it's just like one little thing, one little degree of shift in perspective that gives you permission to like really fully live your design out. I hope you hear that. And it's different when we're in person. You know what I mean? It's different when we're in person. And so eventually one of my visions is to start hosting retreats again where we can do like human design stuff. And I actually I'm still in a cycle about this, but I might announce a retreat in 2025 that's going to be purely human design and biomechanics. So you'll come and you'll get training that's specific to your design and specific to your body as a human being. Because one of the things that's different about me that I incorporate into human design, and it's again very much so a third line project that I have with my buddy Pasha. And if you want to experience like the beta of it, come join the archive. The archive is like my exclusive I would say my exclusive community. I don't sell courses right now. Everything is just in the archive. So all of my coursework is in the archive, and it's only $11. Like this is my thing. Right now it's mostly it's how you say biomechanics, so like physical training, because my buddy who trains people in walking, running, and throwing, in making their face and the integrity of their face better, making their hands bigger, making their eyes bigger, making them more tolerant human beings via the senses. There's a bridge between that and human design, and we're exploring it together. So as a manifester, I seek reflector reflections. Bring it on, my friend. Anyone, again, I'm not a hard person to reach. If you want to reach me, you can email me. It's at the bottom of my email is at the bottom of my website. I'm always looking to collaborate. I have to have, and this is the thing, is like, as a reflector, I have to have people to collaborate with, because if I don't, not a whole lot happens. And I have a lot of things that I want to happen, but I know I'm not here to do it on my own. So human design mutation, write me, please. What about the right angle cross of the sleeping phoenix? My buddy Pasha is on that cross, actually. And it's very much so about like being an individual, waking up, wake me up, how you say, and falling back asleep, and waking up and falling back asleep. So it's very like a very emotional journey. Manifesting generator here. I have no idea how to read these charts, Kaio. So if you get one of my reports, you don't have to worry about that, because it'll tell you about everything. But one thing that I can tell you is that if you focus on your strategy and authority, which are going to, either your report will tell you that, or you can simple Google search, or spending some time on my page, you can figure out how to start using your strategy and authority. It's not really about being able to like read the numbers and read the charts. That is a benefit of spending a lot of time with it, but the true benefit is knowing how to make decisions that are correct for you. So all you need for those two things is, or to make that decision that's good for you, all you need is strategy and authority, right? Everything else that you're going to learn is going to be again, cherries on top. Luke, thank you for sharing the live, bro. Appreciate you. Yeah, so again, it's supposed to be overwhelming, you know what I mean? It's supposed to be overwhelming, because one of the things that that we have to recognize is that when something is overwhelming, it's not that it's too much, it's that we can't handle it. It's not that it's too expensive, it's that you can't afford it. It's not that they're too emotional, it's that you can't tolerate it. Right. And I live, and part of my my method is to like, dude, I'm all about radical responsibility. Like, I could have no fault in a situation, but I guarantee you I will find some way to improve. That's just how I am. Maybe it's because I have the hanging 26, but also because I'm a reflector and I see what happens when people attempt to take, you know, they care more about winning than learning. Like I care more about learning than winning. And every now and again I win really big. But I care more about winning. I care more about learning than winning. I'd rather learn a lesson than win because I know that if I learn enough lessons and apply those lessons, I will eventually win. Whereas if I'm always trying to win, I might actually do things where I prevent myself from learning something. And again, it's an obsession in the West have of like let's get to the destination and let's not care about the journey. Cartography is brilliant and very cool. Um, just because like for me, I don't believe that it matters where I'm at on the world. I'm tuned into what's going on inside me and what's going on externally. I can behave appropriately. That's just how I feel. And I think it's really wonderful for people that like need a or want some kind of like refresh. Like if you've lived in the same town your entire life and you're waking up and you're like, where should I go? Look at your astrocartography and go somewhere that is in alignment with your astrocartography. It's pretty fun. What is the question to ask to better use our chart? I'm a manifester. So great question to ask yourself as a manifester is what information do I need from others to be at peace? Basically, what you're looking to do is like achieve a state of peace for yourself. Okay. What information do I need from others? How can I get that information? Because most of the time you're going to have to ask for that information, even if it's something that you're like, well, they should just tell me. They should just know that I want that. Shut up. Ask for the information. Okay. Just like humble yourself and be like, hey, I'd really love this information by the end of the day. If you could get it to me, please. They're probably going to be like, oh, I forgot, or thanks for reminding me, or blah. Don't assume that people are going to do it, especially as a manifester. That's a quick road to hating everybody in your life. Another question you can ask is, who needs information from me? Or texting people in your life. Hey, is there anything you want from me? Or is there anything you want to ask me? Open up lines of communication with the people that are important to you in your life. Otherwise, those people are going to unconsciously be pushed away by your aura. Another thing you can ask yourself is I lost it. Never mind. It'll come back later. What about weight gain? Is there some place more that the open sacral could affect it? So check this out. You guys have heard of water weight before? Like it's not like muscle weight. It's like water stored in fat is a lot different than water stored in muscle. Water stored in muscle is much more dense. It's like more in a way a permanent part. Like the reason why we have fat in our body, not the only reason we have fat, but one of the main reasons that we have fat in terms of like belly fat and overweight fat is because our body will start breaking down that fat when we start to starve, right? It's a defense mechanism, it's a survival, it's a splenic a survival mechanism. It's human bodies have existed when there were no supermarkets and you couldn't just go get food. One of the reasons why people with undefined sacrals, and there's 30% of the world, a lot of people are overweight, is because not only is the food kind of like hijacking a lot of our natural gut chemistry, which is that's the primary thing actually is like if you're overweight, start doing enemas, start doing cleansing protocols because even if you have a defined sacral or undefined sacral, you're not going to be able to tell if your gut chemistry is all thrown out of whack. Like if you're drinking, multiple sodas a day and you're eating a lot of processed food, especially processed meats. I'm all for meat, but it's like I get my meat from like the cows that live on this island, right? But yes, prana, undefined sacral, not knowing when enough is enough. Huge how you say like pause, eat slower, right? But then also when it comes, and I was on a thread there for a second. When it comes to being overweight, water weight, like the fat on our bodies was developed through fasting, right? And so people with undefined sacral, when they start to fast or when they're not consuming things, and I can speak to this, there's a shift that turns on, and I for some types it's not great to fast. Which prana, if you want to let me know, maybe it's consecutive types. Um, but certain types it's not good to fast. But I think fasting is definitely, it's worth doing. Like just do a fast one day where you get to see yourself, what you're like when you're in your hungry state. And a lot of people can't tolerate themselves when they're in their hungry state, in which it's like I've gone days where I won't eat on purpose, intentionally. And it's not because I want to lose weight, it's because I want to experience myself in the I'm angry, I'm hungry, I'm not getting what I need, because legitimately I have everything I need. I can go 3 weeks without eating food and I won't die. So it's this catastrophizing of minor inconveniences that happens in these undefined centers, right? Like it's like, for instance, this person with the undefined heart, they can have a minor inconvenience of like, oh, I didn't make as much sales as I wanted to this week, or as so and so made, and they could turn that into, you know, a heart attack. They could turn that into all kinds of shit, all kinds of dysfunctions. I'm not a nice person in my hungry state, no, but it's also because you never let yourself go hungry, right? This is my assumption. People that are hangry, that get hangry and get really like abusive to their partners or abusive to their friends, or just are very unpleasant to be around. It's like, yeah, it's like, try some elimination therapy, right? Try not eating for a day, and instead of, looking at that part of yourself as something that you never want to come out, like look at it like an untrained dog that needs to be trained. Fasting confronts us to our insecurities because we tend to eat to feel something and avoid emotions. Yeah, 100%. I could not have said it better myself. That was brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. Left facing arrow on the top generally needs an eating routine. Right facing arrow is when appetite is there. Right. So this arrow right up here. So left is eating routine, right is more about appetite. And when it comes to fasting, and because I've heard that before, Prana, that's why I asked that. Someone someone said that it's not healthy for certain people to fast, which is like maybe right facing arrows, like it's important for them to just eat when they're hungry. I would even push on that a little bit, because as a general rule, I think that, yeah, eat according to your design. But when it comes to, like, again, like what fasting can do for us in terms of like forcing us to confront, like fasting is shadow work, right? And so eating in a way is like also like worship, or some kind of like sacred act that we have as human beings, because what you put into yourself literally becomes your body. And this goes for information as well. Marco really said, call me beep. Yeah, I can possible it. Yes, it's like that. But anyway, what did you say I should work on? Wait, what did you ask? I remember you asked something. A little fasting. Oh, put yourself in a fasted state and then just reflect. Like, here's the thing. The only way to grow your muscles, right? About fasting, is like the only way to grow your muscles is to break them. When you're in the gym and you're doing curls, or you're using your body, you're breaking your body down. But if you do it in an intentional way, right, then it's what's up, Flowbug? Yeah, you guys can hear the rain. If you do this fasting thing, or this working out, this breaking down of your body in an intentional way, your body will build it back stronger. Right. So the same thing with fasting. When it comes to fasting, one of the things that I like to do, and I do this like naturally, like every month or so, I'll go a whole day without eating, and I'm on a different level. Like I've taken my hangriness and turned it into like the craziest, most productive, creative energy. Like, you being hangry that's like the first layer of crust of the underworld. When you can learn how to tolerate not eating for a day, or taking your hunger, it's like taking like loneliness and turning it into a superpower. It's like taking hunger and turning it into like, you're like this pure creative machine. It's awesome. So anyway, yeah, the sound of the rain is nice. That was real for me. When I eat, it becomes a part of my body. Yep, definitely. Also consider parasite cleansing. Parasite cleansing is super important too. Again, like I was saying, a lot of people can't really interact with their gut because their gut chemistry is so imbalanced. And you don't have to have a perfect gut to start listening to your gut. but definitely like everyone has parasites and everyone has colon stuff. And so again, you don't have to be perfect, but you do have to work on that. Like you do have to get an enema kit. And I'm working actually with one of my buddies to create some protocols, actually a whole business to help people with exactly this. So I did fast for 24 hours twice a week and gained 6 kilograms. Oh, wow. Okay, so check this out. Again, it's fasting will show you things outside of what you normally would expect, like this. So it's like if you fasted and you gained weight, my sense is that it's not from the food or the way that you're eating. Like it's some type of energy. I was talking about fat earlier as a way of like fat is like a reserve food source for when you're not eating. And so one thing that you might want to consider is who are you using for energy or reserve energy that maybe is not necessarily there's not a reciprocity in there. My longest fast was 63 hours. Nice. I went 4 days once and it was epic. And it was so hard too. Like I did it with my partner at the time, and we were just at each other's throats, or rather she was at my throat. Um, she was an emotional manifesting generator. It was a lot harder for her than it was for me. It was hard for me to see her in that state, but anyway, I digress. Fasting is important though, because it's like again, when you're in a fasted state, like you have to tolerate your very unlikable hungry self. That in and of itself is very, very valuable of having to tolerate yourself that doesn't come out a lot. It's the same thing that we do with shadow work. It's like, okay, this emotion, this state of being, you feeling unworthy, you feeling abused, all of this stuff. How do we build a relationship with that beyond like I'm gonna run away from this every time it shows up, or I'm gonna satiate this every time it shows up? How to get into parasite cleanse properly so they don't adapt to the cleansers? Yes, exactly. You have to like literally nuke them, which is an ordeal. It's a very big ordeal. I can't go 4 days without food. It was hard. It was really hard. I was like smelling dry rice and being like, oh my God. Right. Okay. So my beta testing, basically what we're doing is we just have a membership. There's courses in there about biomechanics. And then there's a discussion platform where we're talking about human design. So we're training biomechanics and talking about human design. Both me and Pasha offer sessions because this is the reality. It's a very nuanced thing what we do. It's me, my buddy, my partner, and I, Pasha. In the sense that we're looking at human design and we're letting the chart tell us what kind of exercises that you have to do with that you have to do in order to tune yourself to your body graph. And this is not something that's ever been done before. So we're literally pioneering it. So the way you participate is by being part of the membership, which again is only $11 a month. Again, Robinhood of the spiritual community. And you just participate. You do the exercises, you take the coursework that's in there, and everything is included in there. I also have to get off this live in a little bit. Much of this has to do with the solar plexus. Harder to avoid truth when you're hungry. Big time. So yeah, but very, very interesting topics that we're talking about today, guys. Very, very cool. So it's different than the app. Yeah, Neutrino Design is like it's a how you say, it's a mobile app for human design stuff. At what we're doing in the archive, it's called the archive, is different than Neutrino Design, but they work really closely together, right? And so you can get the app on my site at 25% off discount. Okay, you can get the archive membership also on my website. One-on-ones, reports, generate your body graph, etc. I have all of that. You can get the book that I showed earlier through an Amazon link, and that's about it, guys. So I have to go. I kind of like went a little bit longer than I intended to, but we were having such a good conversation. I couldn't help myself. So thank you guys for participating in today's live. We're going live Wednesday, Friday. We go live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. So 9 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You guys catch me here. If you're not already following, make sure you follow. Thank you guys for 20,700 likes and taps of the screen. That kind of just still blows my mind. And again, if you're looking for more information, just go browse my TikTok. I have playlists for all the types for centers, for gates. I have a lot of it's loosely organized there, but I have a lot of information. Prana, thank you for being in this live. It's really good to see you, man. And for everyone else, thank you guys. Thank you to all the subscribers as well that are here. And again, anyone that is absorbing this information and using it to make their life better, thank you. You are part of something much bigger than yourself. And your way to participating in that is just literally by being yourself. So thank you for being you. Thank you for being in this world and choosing to continue to take steps forward and do so with truth in your heart and compassion coming out of your hands and eyes and mouth and all of that. Love you. I will see you next time on this channel. Peace. Later, YouTube.